Okay, now we're going to take a look at a specific local city in terms of how kind of they go about spending their money. I picked Mission Viejo for one thing because it's here in Orange County, but for another thing, it's an example of kind of a small city because in the next video or in the final video, we're going to be looking at kind of the differences between big cities. So this is a direct example of a smaller city. So Mission Viejo has specific funds, and these are not the source of revenue, but the kind of how they break up the budget. So the general fund are the sources are property sales and use taxes, and they can use this on anything. And most of the police, street, parks, and building services funds come out of the general fund. Then there are special property taxes. So gas taxes, for instance, have to go directly to street maintenance. They can't be used for any other thing. There are debt service funds, and these are the required payment on bonds that have been issued. Um, and then there are capital project funds, and this is the money to build major projects. Now, the difference between debt service funds and capital project funds is that um, you get a bond. Let's say the city of Mission Viejo gets a $30 million bond to build a new city hall. Or it gets a 30, yeah. They contractually have they've issued the bonds and the money has come in. That becomes the capital project funds. You have $30 million in the fund to pay construction workers and to pay, plumbing fixtures and all of that. The debt service fund is the payment on that debt over time. So those are kind of important distinctions. And then there are enterprise funds. This is money from specific user charges. And an example of this in Mission Viejo is animal licensing. So when you get a dog license, pay your $30 whatever a year to get your dog licensed. All of that money goes directly to animal control services, and can't be used for anything else. In Mission Viejo, they've divided their government into 7 program areas. There is general government legislative, which basically means the city council, the direct city council expenses, the stipends, the travel reimbursements, the things like that. Then there's the general government management and support, and this is all of the funds that support the salaries of public employees. Then there's public safety, and this is the police and fire departments. There's community development, which are kind of the categorical area to build up the economy of Mission Viejo. Engineering and transportation. These are kind of technical and hard costs. Infrastructure maintenance. This is potholes. And then recreation, community, and library services. These are kind of the discretionary services that are provided by the city. Um, and then then within each one of the previous categories, within the infrastructure category, they have these 5 breakouts, and this is true of every single one of those categories. Personnel, this is the salary that is provided to the people who operate in that division. Services and supplies, these are, this could be paper, you buy paper pens, or it can also be the contracted services outsources. For instance, if you are doing a capital outlay budget, part of the will be construction, construction companies that you're hiring to build that building. Capital outlay is long-term kind of spending. Debt service is bonds that you've issued. And then operating transfers are kind of an interesting category. These are, let's say that the infrastructure department has a surplus one year, then they transfer that money to the Parks and Rec department the next year. And so those are kind of interdepartmental transfers of the money.